Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. Today I'm coming to you when I would normally be doing a live YouTube presentation, but I'm away from my craft room at the moment, and so I'm pre-recorded this and I'm calling it sort of a kind of live or a sort of live, where I'm going to be doing much the same as I normally would in a live, which is to create something pretty much from scratch and build it up in front of you. So hopefully you'll enjoy this one. Now I'm also calling this Welcome Back Lost Lagoon. Now this is one of the colours that are going to be coming back into the Stampin' Up family at the beginning of May. And I'm just so excited because this is a colour that was available for 2 years, a few years back, and I just loved it. It just seemed to go with so many different colours. And over the coming months, I'm going to be sort of sharing some of those mixtures with you. Now, this is actually left over from when it wasn't in colour back in the day. I can't even remember what year it was. And I could not bear to part with it. I don't know if I had a feeling somehow that one day it would come back into the family. But I kept not only the card, but I also kept the ink pad and the refill as well. So that is what I'm going to be using for this this video today. And then I'm also going to be using this stamp set. Now this is another of those online exclusives that I've been presenting over the last few weeks, and this is a lovely alphabet set, and it's got nice big letters. They're about an inch, and as well as the letters there's punctuation marks, but then there's also some nice sort of leafy bits as well, which I'm going to be using. So obviously I did do a little bit of thinking ahead of time on what I'd like to do. And I'm going to use another product that gets overlooked in the Stampin' Up catalogue. And that's the note cards with envelopes. And you get 20 cards and envelopes. And it's something like about $7 or $8. They are so reasonable, and they measure, the front panel measures 5 by 3.5. So I decided that I would make just a little set of note cards. So that was my first thought. And then I thought, well, okay, that's one thing, but maybe I ought to step it up a little bit and to make a little box for the set of note cards to go in. So that is what we're going to be working through today. So as far as my note card is concerned, as I say, I have my my card base, and these are all pre-scored as well, which is good. So there's my card base here, and I cut a piece of the Lost Lagoon card, and I ran it through the stitched greenery die, and it's not really, it doesn't cut anything. It gives you these lovely stitched leaves. On the back, it does come through a little bit, but the front is the most gorgeous part. And the reason I decided to use that is so I could use some of these little leaves. It would kind of, everything would tie in with those little leaves. So I'm just going to attach this piece onto the front of my card. A little bit of liquid adhesive there. And then I'm just going to set that aside for a few moments to for that to just to set up a little bit. Now I've used this on this paper on a live before, the Hello Irresistible. Again, it's another online exclusive. And I have been featuring them quite a lot because they're not going to be in any catalogues, and they're available, if you like, while stocks last. But they've got all these lovely colours, and one of them is Lost Lagoon. So I think I chose this paper here, and I cut a small piece, and I'll tell you what the measurement is when I pick up my... So I think I cut this 3 by 2.5. So I'm just going to attach that here. And again, those leaves complement that lovely leaf design on my piece of card. Now to my stamp set. I thought it would be nice to have monograms on these little cards. And I thought, well, these can just be like little note cards. This is just something that you could give to somebody, and then they can just write a little thank you to somebody, or even use it as a maybe a birthday card. So I'm going to use my initial, and I've got a little scrap card here. This is just basic white, and there's my initial. Now I wanted to cut a circle, and I was looking for it through my dies for some circles and a sort of scalloped edge one. And I remembered the Give It a Whirl dies. Now these are dies that allow you to make a card that has like a little turny piece in it. And I have got, I've done them in the past, and there's videos, at least one video on how to use that card. But it's got a little circular die which fits perfectly over here, and it's got this piece here which will give me a scalloped edge, which I think is really quite feminine. So I'm gonna start with our mini die cutter, and I'm going to just pop that down and line that up, and I'm just going to put a little bit of this sticky, this is like sticky notes only on a roll, and they're just really good at holding something down that you don't really want to move. And since I want my initials centered there, then that's what I'm gonna have, because I've got this piece. Let's see. And it's very nice because it's got like a little rim. I don't know if you can just see that rim. I'm going to bring it up. Hopefully it doesn't make you seasick. It's just that tiny little bit of a rim on there, just to give it a bit more of a feature. And then I'm going to use a scrap of my very precious and long held Lost Lagoon, and we're going to cut ourselves another piece. Now for these particular cuts, I'm using my #1 base plate and then a #2 clear plate. You can see it's well loved. And then I'm going to put my die on the top. Now this time, if it moves a tiny weeny piece, I'm not going to be too worried about it, because I'm not looking for it to center. Oh, if you can hear any noise in the background, that's the trash truck coming round to empty the dustbin. So right, so here's our pieces, and as you can see, it does cut 3 parts out, which on the face of it you think, oh well, what am I going to do now, because I was hoping for a solid piece. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some adhesive on my initial, and when you stick it down, you can see actually there is a tiny little margin, little border around there. Now if I wanted to, I could sort of use that and then maybe do this in another color, but I really want to use this this color cardstock. So I'm going to place that in the middle here, and then I'm going to get my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to position my dimensionals so that they go half on that little rim and half on the circle in the back. And that way, that's all nicely stuck down. Okay, so you can probably tell by now that I had really thought this bit through quite a lot. And I guess what I could do is perhaps put some pearls on there, but what I will do is I'll get one of these little leaves from the Classic Letters stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp inside my card and on my envelope. Oh, make sure it's the right way round. Yes, it is. Right, yeah, so I just needed to make sure that I stamped so the flap was at the top. Now as I say, I could put some, maybe I could put some pearls on this one. Maybe I can pop one there and maybe one over here. I don't know, maybe one up here. So there's my card, and I went ahead and I've made 3 more. So I've now got a set of 4 note cards with matching envelopes. So this is where the rubber hits the road, because now I've got to work out the dimensions for my box. And I'm going to share with you how I do that. So just give me a sec. I need to have a little sip of my tea. Keep the old brain box going. Right. So as I said a few minutes ago, this actually measures, the card measures 5 times 3.5. So that's my starting point. And now I've got to work out, well, how deep do I need my box? Well, I think to make sure they fit in nice and comfy, I'm going to have about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's times 3/4 of an inch. Right, so our first point is our 5 inches. Well, I want it to be a weeny bit wider so that it's not like a really sort of tight fit. So I'm going to add, say, 1/4 of an inch. So I need to have 5 1/4 inches there. And then I've got to say, okay, well, I'm thinking about doing my box sort of go so it goes like that. That's my thought. Okay, so I need to go, so that would be 3.5 inches, but I don't want the top of the box to come to the top of the card. So I'm going to do 3 inches. So that gives me, so this is 3 inches here. And then if I've got 3/4 of an inch for the depth, I need to add another 3/4 of an inch here. All right. And then I need to the back. So again, I want it to not be a really tight fit. So I'm going to add a 1/4 of an inch to the back. So this is 3 3/4 here. And then I need another 3/4 of an inch. All right, hopefully you're following me, because if you like, that's going to be, that's going to go like that. And so then I just need the flap over the top. And again, I don't want it to be the full 3 inches, 3.5 inches. So I'm going to do a piece here. How far should I have it? I do it. So if I have that going up 3 inches, that's going to be the top of my box. And if the flap comes 2 inches from the top, it'll overlap by about 3/4 of an inch. Right. Okay, we're going to go for it. I'm going to make that 2.5 inches. So then I've got to total up these, this amount. So I've got, this is 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 for those two, plus another 3/4. So that gives me 3/4 plus 3/4 is 1.5 inches, plus 3 is 4.5, plus 3 is 7.5 inches. Then I've got another 3/4 of an inch here. So that gives me 7.5, 8 1/4. And then 2.5 here gives me 10 3/4. So that is going to fit beautifully onto an 11-inch piece of cardstock. So then I've got to have the sides of my box. So since I've got 3/4 of an inch here and here, I need to have 3/4 of an inch all the way down there. Okay, on both sides. I hope it's making sense. So I've got 5 1/4 here, plus 3/4 gives me 6, plus 3/4 gives me 6 3/4. So my finished size of my card is going to be 10 3/4 times 6 3/4. All right, everybody with me? So a piece of my precious cardstock and a trimmer. So we'll start by cutting 6 3/4. So there's my 6 3/4. And I just need to take 1/4 inch off of here, so 10 3/4. But to be honest with you, I don't think it would make a huge difference if we left that 1/4 inch on. But we'll take it off because we've already done the math. All right. So now we've got to score. So our first score is going to go at 3 inches. It doesn't like that. So let's get my other, what's my other score blade? Scoreboard tool. Well, we did have that, but it's disappeared. Yeah. Well, let's see if we can make this work. Yeah, I think we can. So there's our first score. Oh, look, it would bite me if I wasn't careful. There it is. So our first score goes here. Then we have to add 3/4 inch. So that's easy. That bit is easy. There. And then our next bit is 3 3/4. So up here, we already did the math. So 3 plus 3/4 plus another 3/4 is 7 1/2. So we're going to go 7 1/2. And then 7 1/2 plus 3/4 again is 8 1/4. And then that should leave about 2 1/2. Bingo, 2 1/2. And then we're going to put 3/4 inch either side. 1 and 2. Right. And we're going to need our paper snips. Here we go. And I need to put a pair of glasses on for this. Right. So let's see. I'm going to put my score lines in to start with, and then that will help me puzzle through what bits need to be trimmed and tabs and things like that. Right. Right. So these are my cards again. So hopefully this is becoming a little bit clearer. So this is going to go like this or like this. It doesn't really matter which at the minute. And then those pieces, these are our side tabs here that will go to make the side of our box. So, and when we look, we've got our envelopes, and because we added that extra 1/4 of an inch on, there's room for the envelopes as well there. Okay. All right, so I'm hoping that this is making sense for you all. I'm starting to think that I quite like the smaller flap, like that. Okay, so we are going to designate this as the inside flap. Right. So we know, I know I've got to keep these pieces, this bit and these pieces, but this piece is surplus. So we don't need those 2 pieces. So we could use paper snips, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to use my cutting tool. So I'm going to put that on the on my paper trimmer, and I'm going to bring my blade up to this second fold down and slide up, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line that up on the 3/4 like that. There we go. Line up my cutting blade with that second one down, and hopefully if I've got all my orientation correct, there. Okay, and then these are my tabs that's gonna go to the bottom of the box. You see my paper snips, I got this big fob on them. That's so I could find them on my workbench. I keep losing them. They get caught under something, but that fob, they show up everywhere. Okay, so these pieces will go in, and then these pieces. So I've got to decide whether I want those pieces to be showing there or tuck it inside and have that raw edge. I think it'll look better if I think I like that better. It's cleaner line, and that bit's going to go over there like that. Right, I think I like the idea of using this corner punch. I'm not quite sure when this goes out whether this will still be a good current one, but that gives a nice little edge to my box. Now I want to decorate it, so I'm going to measure. So we've got 5 1/4. So if I cut a piece here 5 inches by 2 3/4, I'm going to make a note of that because I'll forget otherwise. So 5 inches times 2 3/4. Well, I'm going to use another piece of this lovely paper. So I need 5 inches. So I'm going to cut 5 inches. And because I want my paper to go like that. I've made sure that my leaves are going in the right direction. And then I need 2 3/4 for there. So that's going to be my top flap. And then I need another piece for here. So this is going to be 5 times 2 1/4. So I'm going to cut this piece 2 1/4 of an inch. So out of a 6-inch square, I've got a couple of little pieces left. So this needs to go like that. There we go. And then this piece is going to go here. And because I decided I'd do those fancy pieces, I'm going to do this piece again. I just need to remind myself. So that went in like that. Oh, that needs to go in like that. So that matches up there. And then this piece goes in. Just a sec. Okay, so I put that piece in like that, and that gave me that. So if I put this inside in like that, that should give me a matching piece. And it didn't. I know why. I know why, because I did the others the other way round. Never mind. Actually, that looks quite decorative. We're going to go with it. We're going to go with it, everybody. Right, so just center that up. And then we can stick our box together. Right, so those pieces are going to go in, and those pieces are going to go like that. So I'm going to stick some double-sided tape on these smaller pieces. And then that way I don't have to worry about how far up I need to put tape on that longer panel. So I'm going to put two strips. Okay. And I'm going to put these, this is going to go inside. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape to hold it steady so it doesn't sort of bind up in when I put the cards in and get all smooshed. Right. Ooh. Right, well, let's just hope that this will work. Right. Right, okay. And I need to take that little bit off as well. Getting nervous now because there's too much exposed adhesive. So that piece needs to go inside, and I'm going to just line up those two pieces, and then I'm going to bring this down like that. And then just bring my bone folder to really smooth that down. So this here, again, I'm gonna, what did I do before? So I stuck it on the inside here. Just made sure that those bits lined up. And then these pieces. Now, if all is well with the world, keep your fingers crossed for me, everybody. Hey. Oh. There we go. And I just want to make sure that apart from working through the note cards, everything I've done is literally live here in front of you. I didn't work any of this out. I didn't cut anything out. You can see I just did everything as we worked our way along. Now, I want to make a little front piece. So I think the word's just a note. Now you've heard me tell you that this is one of my most favoritist stamp sets, and I have to say practically ever. I just love it. It is carrying over into the new catalogue, which I'm thrilled about, and I think that this one that says just a note, I'm going to use that on my front piece now. I don't like that. We're going to turn it over. I'll explain why I don't like that. For some reason, it's gone a bit fuzzy. It's not crisp. So, let's start again. Okay. That's better. And I got my, didn't follow my own rules, did I? I've got my double oval punch, which is another favourite of mine, and a scrap of the Lost Lagoon. We get that stuck down. And I'm going to just pop that there. Now, I could put more decoration on, but I'm going to kind of leave it that far rather than put even more decoration. But the thing I am thinking about is maybe putting a magnet on. And I've got these lovely little teeny weeny magnets that if I can peel a couple off, I don't need very many, much. They don't, I have got some slightly bigger ones here, I think. Yeah, but I don't think I need that many because this is very light. Okay, so I want to, I'm just wondering if it will stick. These are so tiny. I'm going to add a glue dot to it, and the glue dot is bigger than the magnet, believe it or not. And I'm going to add it here, making sure that the box is square, and I am going to line it up to try and make sure it's centered. So that's 5 1/4. So 5, so it's just about going to be there. Oh, that was a silly thing to do. I'm using a metal rule. There. Right. What did I do with the other bit? It was here. I knew it was a mistake not to put them in a little pot. Oh, I bet you it's on this ruler. Look, there it is. Ooh, you little monkey. So now I'm going to just find the spot, the other side, there. And I'm going to add a little glue dot again, but this time I think I'll let it, no, I'm not going to do that. Hold on. The thought is still gelling in my mind. So line everything up and then press that down. Gently ease it up. And I'm just going to press that in firmly. Now, we put some dimensionals on here. And probably a pearl or two when I get to it. There. Now the only thing I need to do now is a little something over that. Now then, what could I use? See, I've got leaves. Maybe I could just do a little flower. And I've got these scraps. And pop that there. And then hopefully, oh, it is catching, not too much there. Okay, well, I hope you have enjoyed this sort of kind of live and how I have introduced you to the return of Lost Lagoon and the Classic Letters stamp set. We've done some card making, we've done some box making, and we have created it literally from scratch. Well, thank you very much for joining me. If you've enjoyed the video, please go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe, perhaps you'll go ahead and do that. And if you've any questions or comments, perhaps you'll just make a note in the comment in below, and I'll look forward to reading them. So I plan to be back again next week at the same time. Until then, bye for now.